What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the FantasyAlarm MLB DFS Playbook Preview Show for this 4-game Thursday early slate. I think it's just 2 games in the evening. This slate starts at 12:15 p.m. Eastern Time. 3 games in the 12 p.m. hour, and then your late slate hammer, 3 p.m. Tampa Bay, Toronto. We do have a little rain symbol there in Minnesota, Baltimore. I guess we'll see exactly how bad the rain is, but with them starting at noon, plenty of time to delay and get that one in. So make sure you check back before you finalize your lineups on the weather report there to see if whether or not that game is going to be good to go. When we have small slates, James, we talk about this all the time. We have consolidated rosterships. And it brings about opportunities where we may pitch the same pitchers in the same game. A quick look at this slate. I don't think we'll be doing that. We will be playing at least one man on this slate. He is your top price starting pitcher. He is AJ Smith-Shawver, or affectionately known here by you, Grande, as, what's your nickname for him again?
Ass.
Ass, yes. He is the ass man. If you're a Seinfeld fan, you'll get that reference. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll remember Billy Gunn, Mr. Ass. We have AJ Smith-Shawver of the
Or
Atlanta.
if you're just an ass fan.
That's true.
You're just an ass guy.
Just that as well.
But I'm not talking, get your minds out of the gutter. Those are his initials.
Those are his.
AJ Smith-Shawver.
Yes, AJ Smith, ASS or AJSS, depending on which way you go with it. He's here, $9,300 against Washington. You were all over him on his last start, and he was awesome. Kevin Gausman gets Tampa Bay at $8,800. His up and down season sort of continues here. He's really only had one really bad blip. Seattle was going well, and then it didn't go well. 99 pitches through just 5 1/3. We kind of were a bit worried about that start because Seattle's offense had been riding well here, but home versus Tampa Bay, we'll see. Nick Martinez against Chicago. You were anti-Lodolo on the Wednesday slate. White Sox offense put up a couple of runs on him in that game. So if you faded Lodolo, you did well. Nick Martinez is 83. And then Sugano, a guy who was way too cheap against the Angels, and we called that one out.
Yeah.
We were like, the Angels are one of the worst teams in baseball. Sugano, 7 1/3, another deep outing for him. And if we can get him to settle in to 4 or 5 strikeouts an outing with that kind of innings for points, like, he's going to pay off this price tag more often than not. But at $8,000, that's peak. I think that's peak pricing, even for a guy that 2 of his last 3 have given us 27 and 26. I don't really want to pay much more than $8K for him there. So those are your top 4 price starters, and probably the only 4 starters we'll use on this slate. So how do you prioritize, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, Smith-Shawver has looked really good many starts in a row. I mean, basically since being recalled for his first start in Coors, he's missed bats. He has pitched. He has given us length. He's thrown a lot of pitches. There's a lot to like about this kid. And like I said it the other day about Bryce Elder, and I say it about Smith-Shawver as well. Like, between those two, they're fighting for a rotation spot based on, Spencer Strider is coming back. Once Spencer Strider is back, either Smith-Shawver or Bryce Elder are probably not in this rotation. And that's, we don't know what else happens to the rest of them. You never know. But, like, if Strider's back, they're not going 6-man with Shawver and Elder. So he's probably a little.
I mean, from an outside standpoint, we know what Bryce Elder can't.
Yes, I 100% agree. But they also when Strider came back, they sent him down. Like, they had sent Smith-Shawver down. And out of necessity, because Strider got hurt on an off day, he was recalled, and he's been great. It's a pretty good matchup. Washington strikes out more than they have in years past. They also have a lot of power, and that was something that bit him early. A couple home runs. The walks are obviously a little bit of a concern. Even in his game where he was in no hit into the eighth, he had walk issues, which obviously the elevated pitch count, 1 out away from a quality start in Pittsburgh, and he doesn't get it. But love Smith-Shawver, all formats. Gossman is a good pitcher that has a ceiling. The strikeouts are super inconsistent, but very few pitchers on this slate can get as deep into games consistently as Kevin Gossman. I mean, we've already seen him go 8. We've seen him finish 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 8 starts this year. So like, just that alone is good, right? Just like being able to pitch deep into games on slates where there's not a lot of like, just the ability to accrue fantasy points. It's
kind of crazy. He's got a sub-1 whip in a game where he has 5 walks.
The Yankees game was just an abomination. He even got thrown out after the fact. He's I want to be here. I'm just going to get thrown out, even though I was already out of this game. The Nick Martinez one is interesting. I don't know what has happened to Nick Martinez, because he used to be like so ground ball heavy, and now it's like not anymore. I mean, it's very split. If you look at these outs, like it's super split down the middle.
You're talking about, right? These guys have been changing their pitch mixes, right?
Sure. So it's true. The hits are another one where there's just always traffic for this guy. But he has been pitching deep into games. I mean, he's completed 6 innings in 3 straight starts, all 3 quality outings.
Without going over 86 pitches, by the way. So, really, I mean, how do you give up 10 hits in 6 innings and only throw 84 pitches?
Double plays.
I mean, or just like early count hits against you, right? Like 1 pitch in, hit,
true.
like.
That's true. I don't hate it.
No.
Because I do think the White Sox have better ability to hit lefties when you just think about. I mean, you and I talked about they had 3 first basemen hitting from the right side on the Wednesday slate, right? So
4th highest strikeout rate, 23.5%, 215 batting average, 110 ISO, 284 WOBA versus right-handed pitching. 284 WOBA is dead last in baseball versus right-handed pitching. 110 ISO, second to last in baseball. Only the Pirates are worse against right-handed pitching. And batting average dead last, 215. And again, the 23.5% strikeout rate's 4th most. So 4th highest strikeout rate, dead last or second to dead last in all of the categories that matter statistically versus right-handed pitching.
Yeah, so definitely can get to Martinez. Sugano, I agree with you on a normal big slate that 8K would be too much.
Yeah.
But just because our pool drops off the cliff that it does, he would be in my player pool. And, we are Minnesota respecters. We are Minnesota truthers. We love that team, and they have responded in kind. They are winning a lot of games right now. The offense looks good. Brooks Lee looks really good. Everyone basically but Royce Lewis is hitting, which is kind of scary if Royce Lewis can hit and isn't broken. But I do think if Sugano continues to keep the ball on the ground and in the yard, which has basically been the keys the last few starts where he's kept the ball in the yard, I do think he's viable at 8K.
Yeah, and over the last 2 weeks here, Minnesota against right-handed pitching, 24.3% strikeout rate, 6th highest in baseball. 126 ISO versus right-handed pitching during that time frame, 23rd in baseball. Their WOBA 291 against right-handed pitching, 23rd in baseball. They are hitting 245, which is right in the middle of the pack at 15. So, bottom 10, bottom 5 in ISO, WOBA, top 6 in strikeout rate, middle of the pack in batting average over the last couple of weeks here against right-handed pitching. The thing with Sugano, he doesn't throw hard, but everything moves.
Yes.
Right? So no one can make a lot of clean contact. That's why he's got games of 15 ground ball outs and 10 ground ball outs.
That's crazy.
But when you have guys that swing and miss a lot, breaking ball stuff also becomes strikeout stuff. So
Yep.
Maybe there's some potential here for Sagano to get us those 4 or 5 strikeouts again. And I do think if this was a 10-game slate and not a 4-game slate, he probably would be priced around like
Agreed.
$7,200 or something like that. So we're just kind of victims of the late small slate pricing here. After that, though, again, Zach Littell, Chris Paddock, Trevor Williams, Bryce Wilson, I don't even really want to try to pitch any of these 4 pitchers. If Paddock was a lefty, maybe we'd have a conversation against Baltimore, but he's not, so we aren't.
He's skirting around a lot of bad peripherals. We talked about that Giant start, and then he had 7 no-hit innings or whatever it was. 6. He had a perfect game through 6. Because I remember like it was yesterday. It was a BVP comment on the Paddock start, if you remember that. And we just, and that's the BVP thing again. Like that was perfect game through 6 innings.
Was it Wilmer who was like 3 for 5?
Yeah, it's like Yastrzemski had like 4 for 7 with 2 home runs or something. And this is a tough spot. Gunnar is red hot. They changed the lineup around. Mullins hit a grand slam on Thursday. Kierstad looks better. They're leading off Jackson Holiday these days. Like
yes, and he'll probably lead off again. It was back-to-back days versus a righty. Holiday leading off. Got another righty here in Paddock. Against right-handed pitching, 3rd best ISO in baseball, 193 against right-handed pitching there. Batting average is kind of middle of the pack at 240. Their WOBA sitting in the middle. Actually top 10 now, 329 in WOBA. Strikeouts, they do strike out the 3rd most against right-handed pitching, so maybe there's some chances for Paddock to get some swings and misses. But if they make contact, ball's probably going a long way right now.
It's also a really good ballpark for power. I just wanted to look that up just to make sure.
Yeah. I wonder how much that has to do with just how bad Baltimore's pitching has been this season. We talked a little bit about that. I mean, like every one of their starting pitchers was getting absolutely obliterated earlier on this year. Gibson gave up 4 homers and 5 at-bats to start his Orioles career. So I wonder if there is a bit of a sample size skew just about how poor Baltimore's home pitching has been. But Paddock's certainly capable of giving up home runs, and they did move the walls in this ballpark.
Because I know you very well, I knew you were going to go there.
Okay.
So I went to last year's data.
Yes.
And I went to the left side of the plate.
Sure.
Obviously, because we're talking about where the ballpark was last year versus this year, right?
Yeah, they moved the wall in last year.
So no, last year it was bad, right? So this year they moved it in.
Oh, right? This year it moved in, yeah.
So I went to last year because perception, at least for the right side, it was bad. Lefties, per Baseball Savant, 4th best park for home runs for left-handed bats last year.
Okay.
And that was a year where Baltimore was a 90-win team, had Corbin Burns, better staff in general, had Grayson, like all the, So I wanted to make sure that it was something of like rolling data, and I'll check just rolling data in general. Maybe like we'll do.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously last year they had Gunnar hit and Santander hit 70, 80 home runs, right?
Last 3 years, number 2 in home runs for left-handed bats behind Great American Ballpark.
Okay, works. I'm for it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Plenty of lefties in that Baltimore lineup against Chris Paddock here. Paddock against lefties. Let's just pull up the splits real quick. Make sure that we're not dealing with some weird reverse split savant here. Lefties, Paddock. 182 average, 265 WOBA.
No.
318 slugging.
167 BABIP.
Yeah, 167. Yeah. 589 xFIP against so maybe some positive regression going on there. Righties 280, 451, 336. Those numbers are kind of in line with what his peripheral numbers are. So
sure.
righties are true. Lefties are unlucky. So You got that.
We'll tempt fate on a 4-game slate.
20% hard hit rate against lefties.
Sheesh, that's bad, dude.
That's not good.
He also only
almost a 60% fly ball rate though to lefties.
Jesus.
That's
a big number.
A 12% infield fly ball rate against left-handed pitching hitters there.
13% strikeout rate against lefties, which is horrible.
Yeah. So he's just getting them to like pop up, basically.
Is that like sustainable? Like
I don't think. Again, his FIP and XFIP are over 5.
And the BABIP is 167. That is crazy, dude.
So, but 20% hard hit rate is like good. That's not like he's getting unlucky. That's literally they're just not hitting the ball hard off him. So
sure.
That's at least one statistic that is true. So we'll see, but doesn't mean we won't roll it. That's fine. But again, you have Littell, Williams, and Wilson. I don't think we're gonna go there, right?
A lot of blue on the Savant page too. A lot of blue.
Well, he's not a good pitcher, so there's that. All right, let's get a catcher again. Small slate, so whoever's in the lineup at a noon game, I guess we'll decide then. If it's Trevino, though, we'd like that against Wilson.
Yep.
At $3,700.
Drake Baldwin, great value. He'll be really, really, really popular.
Okay.
He is. They have to play him more.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about Sean Murphy, obviously on the Wednesday slate, with the lefty on the mound, but with the righty on the mound, get Drake Baldwin here.
Yep.
Matt Tice from the left side has some power if he's in the lineup there.
Cuero and Kirk right there as well. Cuero will hit in the middle of the lineup. Kirk
basically it. Tyler Stevenson, $4,200.
Yep.
How many catchers are on the Reds?
Dude, they have a lot of catchers. Are they carrying 3? Did they keep wins?
Did they keep Winans up? I don't know.
Yeah, they did. He apparently he played first base the other day.
There you go. Well, he hasn't played since the 8th, so he might be gone.
Yeah.
All right, first base. Again, small slate. Arana keeps hitting. I know we like Gossman and probably end up playing Gossman, but Arana, a very dangerous bat in that lineup. Spencer Steer homered again, a guy that's coming around at $3,600. I think Trevor Williams has some pretty ugly numbers against lefties, and the sample size for Williams is probably good enough to look at some BVP, but I won't do that to you. So
the lefty stuff for Trevor Williams has been like years and years of ongoing.
I feel like that's accurate. It is 396 batting average, 625 slugging allowed so far this year. 5 homers, 2.2 homers per 9 to left-handed bats. And as you said, last year actually he bucked the trend. He was really good in his limited pitching against lefties. But before that, 509, 514 slug, 560 slug in 2019. So yes, lefties have always done the damage against him throughout his career, and that has continued on to the season. So if you find it in your hearts to play some Matt Olson as poorly as he has played this season,
find it in your hearts.
This could be a spot for that. Anything else for you at first?
I just liked your Aranda shout. I mean, you're right. We like the pitcher, but it's just too cheap for Jonathan Aranda. It's the same thing we were saying all week. This guy should not be the price he is, period. End of conversation. That's it. He should not be this price.
Nope. He should be a $4,500 first base.
Dude, minimum. And he was. And then he hit too good, and they were like, actually, let's drop his price.
So, yeah, we'll see. 1 for 3 today with a walk against Toronto. They lost 3-1 in that game, but bounce back. And he'll be in the lineup there. So, second base. Matt McClain got moved down to 8. They hit Lux leadoff in this one today. I would imagine that just continues with Friedel as long as Friedel's out of the lineup. We'll see, I guess, with McClain, but he's 45. Albies will hit from the left side. Again, he hasn't been good, but Williams has been bad. But you mentioned earlier Jackson Holiday leading off, and it feels like it's probably the spot for us to go here.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't even been that good. He's been fine, but he is a good combination of power speed. I know we haven't necessarily seen the speed all that much, nor have we really seen the power. But obviously, the toolsy nature of it, and he's leading off at a sub 4K price tag. Like,
We just
I'd
got to
be
get him at bats, right? Number one
yes,
prospect in
correct.
baseball. They called him up last year, and he was so bad. They sent him back down. He came up. He hit for a bit. Give this kid a full year and see if he can get going. So
We've talked about this a bunch with with players, right? They just
yeah.
need at bats. Like you just
Hey,
have
Mike
to
Trout was
give people at
terrible when
bats.
he first got called up to the major league. So
Right.
anything is possible there. So I like Holiday at 38. And again, on the small slate, Brooks Lee, as you mentioned, like hitting the ball well, but like we might
Yep.
play Sugano, so we're not going to end up playing Lee. So
I would play. Well, I would play Lee in lineups. I'm not playing Sugano. I would absolutely play Lee.
oh
3K.
I'm saying for our lineup, we're
Yeah.
probably going to trend towards playing Sugano. But if not, sure, yeah. Obviously, there's the opportunity, smaller player pool, so only limited options for us here to kind of pick and choose where we want to go there. Anything else at second?
I feel the same way about Cody Clemens as Lee as well. And Clemens has not been good, but he's homered. Like that's everything he's done has basically been extra base hits. He has 5 hits, 4 extra bases. So
okay. Third base position then Austin Riley, $5,300. You have the Royce Lewis, Caminero. Again, not a lot of great options on the small slate. You can play Miguel Vargas, you can play Lee here as well. Do you have a favorite at third baseman?
What is the Gossman splits this year? Really bad underlying stuff here, John, for Kevin Gossman. Really
I mean,
bad.
he's had a couple of really bad starts. Obviously, the walks in 2 of them haven't helped him give a lot of hits in that last outing. So probably not too shocked that some of the overall numbers don't look great on Gossman here.
So, like, from what I'm seeing, versus righties, this is on Cameron Arrow point, 254 BABIP. Obviously, that's gonna rise a little bit. 254. 123 ISO allowed, 242 expected ISO, 251 WOBA, 334 expected WOBA, 93 mile an hour exit velocity allowed to right-handed bats. That's really hard. Like that's a lot of. I wonder what his hard hit rate is. I don't know if you have Gossman pulled up on Fangraphs or not, but 93 mile per hour exit velocity is high, really high. And then lefties even 179 expected ISO for lefties, 217 BABIP against. He's literally throwing 3 pitches this year. So sinker, fast, 4-seam, and slider. That's it. And that sinker is getting hammered by righties. Is that
the problem? Is like it's Tampa Bay, so who's taking
is.
advantage of that?
Caminero, well, Caminero. That's why I'm looking at and Aranda. Those are literally the 2. And if you wanted to play Brandon Lau,
well, Aranda's from the left side, obviously.
No, but the left, both underlying sides do not look good for Gossman. So I was just saying, like, there's legitimate potential for.
I mean, if we wake up tomorrow and Gossman's getting ownership, the numbers bear to play on a small slate like this.
Play some Rays.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would say like Riley is just the best player here. I think you and I would both agree. And then Caminero probably per dollar, if you believe in Kevin Gossman struggles or the underlying stuff being real, then Caminero would be the pick.
Yeah, and the other one obviously would be Barger here. Now they moved him back down to 7th today. Obviously, again, they had someone was back in their lineup. They moved him. Kirk was back in the lineup. Lefties against Zach Littell, 456 slugging on the year, 1.7 homers per 9 to lefties. So, again, 47% fly ball rate.
What about the righties? What about the righties for against Littell, John?
Sort of the same. It's a 456 slugging for lefties, 464 slugging for righties, 315 WOBA for righties, 318 for lefties. Righties have a 2.1 homers per 9. So again, even actually worse than than lefties there. Hard hits 36%, fly ball rates 41%. So all that's kind of in line. A 17.6 home run to fly ball rate versus righties. It's only 12.9 for lefties. Now Littell was on the mound in that Angels game when their entire outfield homered.
Oh yeah, that was
So twice, yes. And
no, it wasn't just
and I think Karen Paris homered in that game. So definitely some skewed numbers there because like Adele and Trout and
Taylor Ward
were all from the right side of the plate, all homered off of him in that game.
It's true.
But still, he is not a good pitcher. So Addison Barger here, Barger, I don't know if we're pronouncing the G or not there. I wouldn't mind throwing something there. I showed you his Savant page the other day, not qualified, but a lot of it was all red. So, recent numbers here for that guy.
Barger.
No
G. You were right. You were right on the original pronunciation.
There we go. You never know how they do with these pronunciations here.
I know, dude. Never.
Dude, Emmanuel Rivera.
Paddock. Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah, $2,000. So just some value plays here at third. Shortstop. You're basically just picking Ellie or Gunner here, right? I know. Actually, I know you've been a Bichette guy lately, and obviously the numbers would certainly bear out some Bichette play, but we're not spending money anywhere else. So,
I know. Yeah, this isn't like Judge. You don't have Judge. You don't have Shohei. You don't have like anything in the outfield.
I mean, I'm looking at this just without looking at outfield yet, and just looking at this slate. Am I gonna click and see like Cedric Mullins as the highest priced outfielder?
You were close.
James Wood.
You're literally ascending correctly. There's only one more possible name you can say.
One more outfielder.
You went from 3 to 2, and now you have to go to 1. Think about the most toolsy player that you could possibly think of.
Byron Buxton.
There you go. Bing, bing, bing.
I've been doing this for too long. Yeah. So
you literally that was so perfectly laddered.
Yeah, without even looking. Anyway, so Ellie or Gunner, figure it out. Pick one.
Love like this. It sucks because like you're right, but like Abrams and Bichette also look super good because like Abrams is unstoppable and Bichette.
Well, that's what makes pitching Shaver a little scary.
Yes,
is that Abrams can't get out right now.
No, can't get out.
Wood hits a lot of home runs. So, it's not. This could legitimately be a pitching slate where like the top scoring pitcher has 15 fantasy points. It's kind of the way the cookie crumbles.
I want to say James Wood, after you were like, I feel like he should be better, had like 3 hits tonight, didn't he?
I mean, I said his batting average felt like it should have been higher.
2 for 4 with a double.
So he's probably up like 273 now or something.
274.
Like
yep, almost.
Yeah.
907 OPS, so like literally elite.
Yeah, dude, he's like elite. I said, my brain sees James Wood highlights and was like I hitting 310 with like 1,000. He's on his way. He's literally on his way to doing it. So, but to your point, like Bichette has been awesome. So if you are saving your money at short to spend all the top 3 outfielders, you just plug them in and move along. Like Bichette certainly makes some sense there. Anything else that you're playing at short?
No, nothing if you're. I mean, it's just Correa if you're stacking.
Yeah,
nothing else.
All right, outfield. I guess technically I was incorrect. Ronald Acuna is.
Yeah, but no, you were not. I looked at it and I could have said that, but we left it out.
That's fair. Buxton, Wood, Mullins, as expected. Hayes, $4,700, who's been really good.
Yep.
Came back from his hamstring or whatever it was that he was dealing with. Had an RBI tonight. Springer's been awesome. Lewis Robert continues to be really good. So I don't think you can miss picking an outfielder here. Given the matchups, again, Wood, I guess, has the toughest matchup, but I would not play James Wood. So
yeah. I would, dude, as much as we are ass guys, like he hasn't been this like he's not Spencer Strider. Like it's not like he got sent down right? He has been up and he has been great, but he got sent down. There's a reason why he got sent down. So, like, if you want to play James Wood, I think 5,200 is more than okay. I agree on everything. You know, even like Ozuna has the wrong split, but like we've said this repeatedly. Marcell Ozuna is too cheap.
Yeah.
Still has almost a 900 OPS despite like all the struggles this year.
Mm-hmm. And then Springer, Robert, O'Hearn, you mentioned Varsho on the Wednesday show. All of them are in play. Probably wouldn't go Tyler O'Neill. I know the power is there, but he has, this is not his split side. Like, he just mashes lefties. So
he's been horrible too.
Yeah. You have Santander at 4K, another guy that they're just waiting to maybe wait. You give that guy all that money and he can't make contact. So not looking good there. Michael Harris, Larnick. I said if Gavin Lux is leading off again, he'd be appealing. Do you think they go Verdugo or Eli White?
Yeah, I think they go back to Verdugo with the righty on the mound.
Okay. So Verdugo leading off against Trevor Williams. We talked about the lefty splits for Williams there. Chandler Simpson against Gossman. Rhys Hines has a lot of power. He hit 9th tonight.
He's so bad.
Kerstad homered the other day. He got his lefty bat against Paddock here.
Yep.
If he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I would play Dylan Cruz too. I know Dylan Cruz has been every time he does something though, it's like he has a big fantasy score.
Dude, he and Jackson Holiday were like top 4 prospects last year, and they're both doing well in their first runs through the league here.
If you go look at Dylan Cruz, some of the stuff, everything. I mean, it's not great, but like he's hitting 185 with an expected batting average of 256. His slug hit the stats page again. Hit the glance. So I can just. His slug is 313. His expected slug is 454, which is like super respectable, right? Like he has a lot of like really good underlying stuff.
He's 5 homers and 10 stolen bases for a guy that doesn't feel like he ever gets on base.
No, dude, he has been very unlucky. He strikes out a lot. He doesn't walk. He swings a lot, but like super good bat speed, barrels everything, and has just really. Expected numbers that should be like hundreds of points higher. So I'm not giving up on him at all. And so I would play Dylan Cruz, especially if I'm playing Washington on this slate.
Yep. I agree with you there. Benson is a lefty, so there's a good shot he's in the lineup there against Wilson.
Yep.
Barger, you can play down here as well. You mentioned Cody Clemens. That's it, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably. I don't think there's anything we even need to entertain.
All right, so if we do like these two, I guess we're the two we're most confident in.
Right? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think that
Martinez.
I think Martinez looks pretty good too. If we need the value, with like Minnesota and like Brooks Lee and stuff, we could always play. I think Baldwin makes the most.
Yeah, we just talked about it, right? The lefty bats versus
Trevor Williams.
Against Williams. I might just end it there though, honestly, because I don't want to play any of those other guys.
No, we could play. Well, we're gonna probably play Holiday or Brooks, depending on Gunner to correlate with Holiday.
Yeah, third base can just play Riley,
or Caminero, 4K.
Yeah, okay, Caminero works. That's 3,700 to play. Let's see, let's do a one-off Barger down here. 41.
Barger. Remember.
Barger.
We're dropping the G. We're dropping the G. Lil Wayne once taught us, rapper John. Real G's moving. Real G's move in silence, like lasagna.
Sure.
Get it?
Yeah.
Because lasagna is spelled with a G.
Got it.
That's what Lil Wayne taught me.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a great lesson to
I
learn.
had it written up on my wall as a kid,
Just full on stack against Paddock here. Holiday, Henderson, Kerstad, Mullins.
You're not gonna hear me say anything bad about it.
All right. AJ Smith-Shawver, Sugano, Baldwin, Olsen, Holiday, Caminero, Henderson, Barger, Kerstad, and Mullins with no dollars left over. Full on Baltimore stack, which is the only rain game on the schedule. So,
hell yeah,
we will find out if we're even playing that stack. Make sure you pay attention to the weather for this game. Again, it is a 12:35 start for that one, so they could delay it and just wait it out and see what happens later on in the day. No live show because this is a 4-game main slate starting at noon. Grande and I will have the preview show for you guys later on Thursday, and we'll be live again on Friday. Until then, we'll talk to you later.